Today I was pleased to introduce Bill C-278, legislation that would require members of Parliament who cross the floor to obtain the consent of their voters in a by-election. It's elementary that in a democracy, elections are the foundational opportunity for voters to express their democratic choice. So when parliamentarians cross the floor to sit with another party other than the one that they are elected for, the will of the people who elected them is altered. This has a corrosive effect on our democracy. Voters lose trust in elections. The prospect of MPs being enticed by backroom deals emerges. And the notion that only government members get resources for their constituencies smacks of the pork barrel politics more reminiscent of the United States Deep South than in Canada. In my own riding of Vancouver Kingsway, David Emerson crossed the floor shortly after being elected in 2006. In fact, only weeks after that, to sit with the Conservatives. Citizens across the political spectrum in the community I represent were justifiably outraged, and justifiably so, because they knew something fundamental had been taken from them. That experience is why I have fought for this legislation for years. Today, the stakes have only grown higher. Mark Carney has become the first Prime Minister in Canadian history to assemble a majority government through floor crossing instead of through the ballot box. The balance of power in this House was shifted, not by voters in an election, but by political operatives in the back rooms, holding private conversations hidden from the public. While that may not be illegal, it is suitably, inherently undemocratic. Now, when governments are built not on the mandate of voters, but on the private calculations of politicians, the very legitimacy of our institutions is called into question. It must not be allowed to happen again. This bill, it should be noted, will not ban floor crossing, nor the option to sit as an independent. The latter is a valid protection against party oppression and to preserve the ability of an MP to express themselves on matters of conscience. It would, though, require anybody who wants to cross the floor to sit in a caucus other than with the party that they were elected for to seek the approval of their constituents through a by-election. If an MP believes that they have valid reasons for crossing the floor, then they should have no problem putting that argument to the test of the voters where it should be. I'm hoping that all of my colleagues in the House of Commons join with me and vote to change this odious practice and do a favor for democracy in Canada by restoring respect for the desire of voters at the ballot box.
It's not a new problem, floor crossing. It's been around for a while. It's been in your riding before. Why are you bringing this now?
Well, I brought it every parliament since I was first elected in 2008. It's a persistent problem that has occurred. I think what's changed now is we've never before seen a government change the complexion of the government that Canadians sent here, i.e. a minority, into a majority by 5 floor crossings. In fact, I can't remember a time in Canadian history when there were 5 people who crossed the floor in one parliament. So this isn't just a case of a single person crossing the floor. This has fundamentally altered the nature of the government that Canadians elected. And so I think it's very important that this bill be considered and debated and hopefully passed in this House. Let's not forget the feedback that we've been getting from voters across this country. I can tell you I have not run into a single voter yet, not one, who has told me they're fully behind floor crossing, they think it's valid, they'd like to see more of it. Not a person has said that to me. On the contrary, what they say is they find it odious, they find it an affront to democracy, and they absolutely believe in the practicality and the wisdom of the approach that I'm proposing today, which is you can do it, just put the test to your voters.